Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. This is actually my 10th cooking video so far, which is a bit of a surprise to me. I never commit to anything for this long, except my relationship and my kids, but let's not get into that. Oh, my job too, anyway. Today I'm going to be doing something that's actually a little bit different. Instead of just making something that's cheap, I'm going to make something that's delicious. Today I'm going to be making some Cheats Lasagna. Now the reason why I call this Cheats Lasagna is because it doesn't use cheese sauce. I mean, who has flour and butter and milk anyway? This way you can skip the process of making a roux, making a sauce, or even getting a packet one, because those packet ones are terrible. And you can just make this as delicious as possible. Still takes a bit of time and effort, but at least you won't have to make the cheese sauce, so that's a bonus. So there are quite a few ingredients we need today, so pay careful attention. So the things we're going to need today are mince, cheese, Lasagne sheets. Now if that's not obvious, I don't know what is. I mean, what kind of lasagna doesn't require minced cheese and Lasagne sheets? Not including chicken lasagna. We also want carrot, cream, garlic, beef stock, onion, tomato paste, and of course we want some oil. You want an oil with a high burning point like canola or something, but I don't have any of that, so I'm just using some of this olive oil shit today that's like infused with chilies. So first things first, I'm going to get the heat on, and as per standard procedure, while that's heating up, I'm going to prepare the ingredients that I want to get in there. Efficiency is key in the world of cooking. So that's my fiancée, by the way. She's not my cleaning lady.
Yes, I am.
Well, I don't pay you, so that would make it slavery, I guess. Grab the most stained chopping board you have. Right, so I'm going to prepare my carrot first. Just going to quickly peel that off.
Peel it off?
Yeah, peel it off.
Can I rub it off too?
I'll peel you off. Get rid of them ends. Great. I'm not really 100% sure how much carrot I want to actually use. Might as well just use the whole lot, I guess. It's just going to go to waste otherwise. Now that that's done, let's prepare our onion, because we want to get that in there too. This is an onion I used earlier today in some cooking. Didn't want it to go to waste. Just because this isn't a cheap and easy recipe, well, it's still easy. Just because this isn't a cheap recipe doesn't mean I'm not still a cheap bastard, so keep that in mind. I just poked myself in the eye. I'm basically just using this to give you an extra body and flavour, so I'm not really going to bother with dicing it because I'm too lazy for that. I'm going to grate it because I have eyes of steel. Right, I'll just use the same grater. It's all going in the same place. Jesus Christ. Bloody hell. Try not to grate your thumb off while you're doing this, eh? So now I'm going to try extract all the flavours of these ingredients. Shit, I didn't put any oil in there. Fuck. Oh god. Okay, so the oil's in there, everything is okay. I'm going to chuck some garlic in there now. Big heaping teaspoon of this in here. There's quite a lot of food. We're going to extract the flavour of that as well. And on top of that, we're going to chuck our tomato paste in there. Oh, there's a cap on this. We're going to get this whole bloody tube in there. You'll note that I didn't actually mention any other tomato ingredients when I listed off the ingredients, because this is the only bit of tomato that's going in there. I want my lasagna to taste like beef and cheese, not tomato. Sorted. So we're not colouring this, just to be clear, we're just sort of extracting all the flavours out of it, getting it all sweated up and nice, I guess. Just fucking cook it, alright? Just don't brown it. think I need more oil in there. I'm gonna get the beef on and get that started cooking. So, get that on a high heat. Ignore the pink toolbox. It's not mine, I swear. I like to call this little buddy of mine the raptor claw because it's super sharp and it's badass. Mince. In you go. So this is the hardest part of it really. We've got two things going on the stove at once. We got our carrot, onion, garlic mix thing, whatever you want to call that, and our beef, which it's still fucking frozen. Everything is always frozen, I swear. This has been out for like 4 hours today. That's what happens when the weather is shit, to put it scientifically. Don't worry about breaking the mince up into too small of a chunks. We're gonna blast it with heat and cook the shit out of it later, so you'll be right. So I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. This is half cooked. This smells absolutely delicious. You really need some smell-o-vision right now. Combine these two. And then we're gonna, oh, fogging up a bit. Come back to me, mate. And then we're gonna throw in there half a litre of beef stock, which is, as you can probably tell, is 2 of those stock cubes. Now that that's all in there, I'm going to put this on the highest heat possible. I am going to absolutely blast the shit out of this. I want this to reduce as much as possible, and that super high heat will break down all those proteins in the mince, because we don't want chewy mince. Nobody wants chewy mince. So obviously the main issue of blasting this on such a high heat is that you have to be stirring it constantly. You don't want anything to burn to the bottom, ruin the whole bloody thing. But you see, right now, looking at this is basically a soup. I mean, look at that. We don't want soupy lasagna, do we? We want nice, thick, creamy lasagna. Oh my god. So we're going to reduce this till it's no longer at soup level, but more at like mince level. If you know what I'm saying, and just watch me do it.
1 hour later.
So this is really reduced quite well. It's still soupy as hell, but what I'm going to do is, because I plan on putting cream on this, and while cream has a much higher, you know, curdling temperature point thing, I don't know what the hell you call that, it's still not immune to curdling, so we want to start lowering the temperature of this while still maintaining a nice reduction. Does that sound fancy enough for you? Reduction.
2 hours later.
So as you can see, while this is still basically slop, it's no longer soup. So I've reduced the temperature by quite an amount. So it's no longer viciously boiling, it's now just nicely simmering. So now I can get my cream in there. Now this is like a 300ml bowl of cream. I'm basically just going to put half of this in here. And if it still needs to be more creamy, then I'll add more. So while that's doing its thing, slowly reducing, slowly simmering down, chill out for a bit. Maybe you could hang out with your cat. Don't get cat fur in your food though. Doesn't taste great.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
This is actually starting to look really good now. This is some fine ass sauce. Look at that. The colour isn't very appealing, but let's not get into that. Now it's thickened up quite nicely. It's still very sloppy, but the thing is we do still want some sauce to actually cook those lasagna sheets. So I'm going to let this reduce down just a tiny bit more, and then we'll start building this thing. So that's looking good. The thing is, it's going to actually thicken up as it cools down anyway. And I'm impatient as fuck, so let's just start making this. Baking tray. Make sure this is well lined with like grease or oil or butter or whatever your poison of choice. You don't want anything sticking to it, that's for damn sure. First off, I'm going to start with a layer of beef. I'm going to be doing very thin layers, and that's because I want as many layers as possible. The more layers equals more pasta, which equals more carbs, which equals more delicious. I've also just realised now that the oven's not on, so I should probably do that. So the oven is on 190 on fan bake, and we just want this to be a nice slow process. beef, pasta, and then cheese. Just cheese. Now I would prefer to put big slabs of cheese in here, but my family don't like it too cheesy. And that's it. That's done. It's like 5 or 6 layers. It's absolutely beautiful. Actually, I'm going to throw more cheese on top of that, because you know what, I love cheese. Honestly, I'm just going to make a video one day. I'm just going to be wearing a shirt that says, I love cheese. And I'm just going to make a recipe, and it's going to consist of like 4 cheeses. Oh, that's not even enough, maybe 6. Tell you what, if you don't love cheese, then you should probably just click out of this video now. Like, I really don't need that kind of negativity in my life. So that's it, cheese lasagna, all done. Daniel, you haven't cooked it yet. Well, let's face it, that bit's kind of hard to fuck up unless you got the memory of a goldfish. Or you're just forgetful like I am. So the oven's on. What we're going to do is we're just going to cover the top of this. I don't have any tin foil because, funnily enough, I keep forgetting to buy some more. It's probably been like a month now. Just going to cover this in a baking tray, throw it in the oven, cook it for maybe, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, and then take it off, cook it for another 15 to crisp up the top, and then we'll get going. It's a long ass recipe though. I started cooking at 4:45 and it's now 6:15. So, takes time, but it tastes delicious. Don't just take my word for it though, try it yourself. Take a video, take a photo, send it to me. I don't know, I don't have a page that you can send things through. Although if you're watching this, you're probably one of my mates anyway, so you can just send it to me on Facebook. Because who else watches these videos, honestly? Anyway, I'll bring you back when that's done. And that is done, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, there's quite a high fat content in the beef from what I can tell, which is why there's a lot of this shit going on. But before we cut into it, we do have to let it rest for about 10 minutes at least. If you cut into it immediately, that's when it's just going to turn to soup. So what we want to do is we want to let it sit and settle for a bit before we cut into it. So it's been a few minutes now, and it's time to cut into this shit. You're about to see what a Cheats lasagna looks like without cheese sauce. Look at that. Layers, buddy. And tell you what, that grease is just going to add flavour. Alright, there you go. First plate. You've been waiting probably about 3 hours. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you on Friday. Cheers.